2. There is sales tax collected on vehicle leases, car rentals, and sales tax collected on heavy road working machinery that go into actually building those systems. Combined, it's about $143 million per year. That certainly should go to the transportation fund. A third issue, which Chairman Pickett touched on, for which over the last 2 sessions there have been several bills that had real good progress, has to do with the Transportation Infrastructure Fund, a designated fund in a locality that you can create a zone. The current transportation investment zones that are on the books are very difficult to work with and are tied to the passenger program. Very limited in scope. It needs to be cleaned up. We had some bills that made it through the Senate, made it through transportation, and died behind a strange little issue last session on the floor. A lot of the things died on that one issue on the floor. But transportation reinvestment zones, conceptually, it's not a new tax. It's not even an additional tax. But we all have known for many years, particularly in urbanized areas, the transportation system can create or harm economic development. So, but yet that economic development can flourish if you have a great system in front of it, you know, shopping centers, stores, businesses, things of that nature. Yet there's not a dime of that development or economic development, which benefits, goes to helping pay for it. And there's the real estate component. Draw a line around it, create that zone, keep it simple. Make sure that the locals bring it forward to do that, and then you run a cap of wherever you are on your appraisals or taxes. And as that system is built, anything above that, portions of it go to pay off those bonds. Senator Ogden had a similar thing, yet they utilize the sales tax portion. I think they should be combined. We'll take a constitutional amendment, but I think it'll work. And that way, in addition, once you create that zone, you can use the increases in value related to the property values that increase because of that. And you run a survey of the sales tax revenues, because the comptroller has that information. Whatever that line is, then the increases in sales tax over a period of time go to pay for that system. So the transportation reinvestment zone, using those 2 elements, I think should be on the table. A fourth, number 4, and I've kicked this one around in my district in a couple of meetings. Whenever we get a wild swing in fuel prices, like 18 months ago when the price of oil went to $150 a barrel, fuel prices went to $4 a gallon, vehicle miles traveled went down, the collections to the state went down, the transportation program did a big hit. Is there anything out there that could offset that? And the answer is yes. There's a thing called the severance tax. Been on the books for years. Has to do with oil and gas production. The severance, I think oil is 6.5% and gas is 7.5%. Not talking about changing that tax. But if you study that tax, we've gone back and studied it here recently. Over the last 8 or 9 years, things were fairly stable. That revenue was about $800 million a year, $700 million a year. When oil and gas shot through the roof 18 months ago, the severance tax, if my numbers are correct, shot up close to $4 billion that 1 year. $4 billion. Wasn't even in the budget. It was way beyond expectations of the budget. So the issue of what happens to that money has not been touched in 22 years. In 1987, the legislature studied the severance tax, and they said, you know, let's create a baseline in 1987. 25% of all of it goes to education. We all support the education, leave that alone. But beginning in 1987, they had a baseline that said anything above the baseline, 75% goes to the rainy day fund. And that's been a good, steady building thing and a very conservative thing for the state of Texas to have that rainy day fund build up. And it's huge right now and continuing to climb. even in Comptroller Combs' budget projections going forward, she assesses a certain projection for oil and gas based on those revenues, and it would be very easy, in my opinion, to statutorily set out the protection, call it the 2010 baseline. If you get that wild swing that shoots up, capture to offset what we lost, or maybe just capture it in a perpetuity portion for the transportation system of this state, and I think it's something that should be able to take.